At the end of previous video, I asked you guys to write the programmer info function. So this function, you will display the programmer name and ID. Remember, I always ask you guys to do that for your assignment, right? So now instead you hard-code it in the main function. I want you to write a programmer info function. So I hope you already do that. So then let me show you how I want you to do. So that's why here we just say, for example, I want you guys always invoke the program. In the main function for the beginning, you should always invoke the programmer info function. But then after we write, you see here, when you run the program, they will tell you you have error because you don't have this function yet. So that's why also I want to show you. If you didn't define the function, you invoke that, they will give you the error. So that's why now we need to have a programmer info function. Okay, so we just say here is programmer info function I want to call. And also remember, because this function is only using to display the programmer name. So the purpose is only display the programmer's name. So that's why it's the void function. So then here you will display the programmer name. So now you have your programmer info, your name and ID display. So now after you have this function, if we try to run again, so then you will see your programmer info. Now you run the program, you will see your programmer info will always display at the beginning of your output. So from now on, for all your lab exercise and your assignment, I want you to write the programmer info function for the display, because now you already know how to write the program, write a function. So here we told you, because you want to call the function, you need to define before you call the function. But sometimes we really don't want the main function will have so many other functions, then your main will be at the end. Remember, because your main function is automatically called by C++ compiler. So that's why a lot of time we don't want you guys have a long function implementation before main. But those functions I need to use, they have to have the information before the main. So that's why the next one I want to talk about is we need to include the function prototypes. So what is the function prototypes? So the function prototype is try to notify the compiler about the function before you calling a function. You place the function definition before calling a function's definition. That's what we do. You need to have all your function implementation before you call the function. But function definition actually you have two different parts. You have function declaration and the function implementation. Usually when we say the function definition, that means the function including the function body. But sometimes if your function if only have the name, return type, and the parameter list, we call they are function prototype. So the function prototype actually is we call the function declaration. They're very similar like the function definition, but without the function body. So then, for example, if we say the prototype, the void print heading become like this. So the header void print heading is the header only. You see, you don't have the prototype is within the semicolon. So then the header is only for your return type and the function name. So how to make a function prototype? For example, like our example here, I really need those information. But here, if I try to cut those function definition and I move to the end, then I try to run the program. Okay, the program will tell us, say, oh no, I don't know what is function info. I don't know what is display message. So that's why they cannot run. But here is, this way is I want you guys to do for your homework assignment and lab exercise. So in C++, if you don't have function definition before the main, one thing is we can do is we just include the function prototype. So the function prototype actually is only your return type, function name, parameter list. Then you put the semicolon. So this one is we call function prototype. So if you have function prototype, compiler know, oh, you have that. Just later on, your definition is afterward. So then you see, if you have the function prototype before the main, then you have a definition afterward. Then compiler know about that, so they can still run correctly. So this one is we call the function prototype. In this class, I want you guys always follow this way. We have function prototype before the main, then the definition afterward. Then we see another example. So the other example is the same. That's the example 2 function prototype. You see here, we will invoke the first and the second. So here, actually, we have the first and second function definition after the main. But then if we have the prototype before that, so then they can know, okay, I already have those functions. So that's what we call the function prototype. So the place function prototype near the top of the program. So that is after your library include and before the main. So program must include either prototype or full definition before your main function will call that. Otherwise, you will have error. So beginning, we show you the full definition. But afterward, we want to have only prototype before the main. So when you're using the prototype, you only place function definition. After you have the prototype, then your function definition can be any other order in the source file. But in this class, we recommend you is after main. So this class, you can be in other order, but then I will want you to just after your main function. Talk about the function prototype, but a lot of time actually we will need some data to send into the function. So let's focus on the function parameter now. So for example, we talk about the power function, right? Your power function, you want to have a to the b's power. You all the time you need to pass in 2 values. So that's why those values, when we value pass into the function, we call they are argument when you calling the function and passing by the argument. So those arguments just a value there. But when we define those functions, since you need those passing variable, passing value, so those variables should be defined in the function. So those variables in the function, we call they are parameter. So those parameters holding the value passing as argument. So what is the parameter look like? Okay, so for example, we see here, you want to display a value. Okay, so now you just give me a value I want to display. So that's why all the time when I display, I need a number, right? So that's why I see out this value is something. You see this number, actually I can pass in 100, I display 100. I can pass in 2000, I display 2000. So that's why this value is a value when you're calling the function user need to pass. So those things we call the parameter list. So when you define the function, your parameter list, you need to specify specify their data type, specify their variable name. And this variable name actually is how we use in the function. So in this example, we only have one variable. If you have more, just like we showed you earlier, you can just have a comma, then continue with your data type and the variable name. So the integer variable num is a parameter. When they're using to accept any value you pass. So this num variable only can be accessed within the function. After the function finish, this num variable is gone. So that's why you can see in example 3, we have the display value. So from now on, we want you to have your function implementation after your main. Then you have function prototype. Right, so function prototype will only have return data type, function name. Then if you have parameter, the same thing, we only have the parameter data type. So then you see here, we have the function prototype. So when the main function calling the display value, we know they passing a variable 5. Okay, so then when they see the really implementation, they will come here to match the implementation. So then they will display the number is, the value we display is 5. So that's the passing parameter. So this passing parameter, you will see when we display the value 5, right? We passing the 5. When we passing the 5, actually is here our none variable. They will assign this 5 to the none. Think about this way. When we passing the 5, so this 5 actually is assigned the value to the none variable. So that's why the none variable now is 5. So then we display the value is 5. So that's the passing argument. So after you understand the passing argument, we want you to change from our example 1 earlier we showed you. Remember earlier we only say display message, we display the welcome, right? So how about now I change this function prototype, we change to this way. Besides their void function, they call display message. I want you to pass in a value, integer value here. So this integer value just means I want to display hello how many times. So that's why now after you change this one, in your main function, they will become like this. So we will call the display message, then I pass in by 5. So then from the display message, they will display hello 5 times and add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now how you will make the change. So pause the video now. So then go to your chapter 6, example 1, see how you will make the change. I hope you pause the video and try. So now I can show you. You see, for example, now the display message I want to change. I want to pass in an integer. Okay, so that's why my parameter, my prototype change. So display message, I want to display 5 times. So now you see here, since I changed this one, you have parameter, right? So then I need to have an int. So this int is just the data type. So then we need to give them the variable name. So we say, for example, count. So count actually, like we say, we want to display hello for 5 times, right? Okay, so then here I just still keep that one the same. But here I just display the number. Okay, so then we have end of line. So since we want to display this message for 5 times, right? So what I need, right? I need a for loop, right? So for our for loop, okay, so for I equal to 0, okay, here they give you the for each loop example, but now here we just regular using the regular one. So we have the I equal to, yeah, we start from 1, right? You want to do 5 times. So then I less than equal to count. Okay, so that's later, depends on how many times you want to display. So I plus plus. So that's why here we will say hello from the function display message. Okay, so then I just need to display how many times. So that's the I. So then that's our for loop. Okay, so then after you make the change, you see here, if we run the program again, they will display. You see, I still have the programmer info. So now we will display 5 times. So that's how we will display the message 5 times. Then we practice how we will pass in the argument. So now here we pass in the 5. So that's why they will display 5 times. So if we change to the 10, yeah, you still can change to the 10, right? So 10, then they will assign count equal to 10. So then you see the for loop, they will perform 10 times. So then if you try to run the program, then you will see they become 10 times. So that's our example. And also next example, I just want you to read by yourself. So you can see here, actually we can pass in multiple arguments. So we call the show sum function. So you see here, I have none1, none2, none3. So when you have that prototype, you just write data type only. Then you see here, when we want to have the sum to display, right? So then we just display the sum to add together.